Okay. Gotta have a drink, right? I feel like that's gonna be a thing on my channel. I'm just gonna be drinking or have some kind of drink every time. It feels like a good one. Today is a little bit of Jim Beam, a little bit of Beam. Stuff's good. Just let it sit for a second. I don't know if I should wait. I don't know what to do here. Today we're talking about transitions. Alright guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning back in or tuning in for your first time. If it's your first time, hit subscribe, leave a comment, let me know. I'm super excited about today's little tutorial lesson type thing. I don't really know how to market these yet, so we'll see how this goes. But today's is super cool. Today's is super important. It's something I've been working on personally for a really long time. Something that I feel is super important to any film, and it's transitions. Now, transitions not only are the classic Star Wars wipe transition where it just goes across the screen or like goes across the screen. Transitions also include sound. They include more creative ways to do transitioning from scene to scene. Now, the king of transitions is who we're going to kind of look at today, and then we're going to look at some of my work and see how I try to emulate what he does to kind of bring that feel into my films, because I absolutely love it. I think he does a fantastic job. And of course, I'm talking about Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright, the man, the myth, the legend, the amazing filmmaker that he is. We're going to take a look today at some of the transitions from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and we're going to compare them to some of the transitions I do in my films, so that you can kind of see that you don't have to have a huge budget or a huge crew or be a big name to do these kinds of transitions in your film. So, the very first clip that he has that I want to talk about is from Scott Pilgrim, and it's when we have two characters talking, and they're talking in multiple locations, and their conversations kind of carry over. And it's really, really interesting. Let's take a look at that clip.
Oh, I got it. I don't listen to that much music. I mean, I know kids that play piano or whatever, but you guys...
So in this clip, you can see something is passing in front of the screen that looks like an outline of a person, but it's not super definite, right? But this object passes in front of the screen when they're at the arcade. Then all of a sudden, they're outside this pizza place getting pizza. They're in the middle of a conversation. Knives is skipping through the street with Scott. And then something passes again, and she's still skipping, and now she's in front of a Goodwill. This is a super, super cool way to transition from one scene to another, and then again to another scene, and have a consistent feel, right? This movie is, the feel of this movie is so important. It's supposed to feel like a comic book. It's supposed to feel like we're just gliding through it with Scott. And we do, because of this transition. This transition is super cool. It's super easy to do. Another time they do this in the film is... Keep messing up, I'm gonna have to slow down on the Jim Beam. So another type of transition that he does in this film that's super cool, and that also kind of has this same vibe, is when Scott forgets to pick up his girlfriend or meet her at the library. And his roommate says, hey, you should go out and do that. He opens the door from their dark, dingy apartment, and it's super bright outside. And then all of a sudden, we're in the library. A really, really cool way to do this that incorporates sound and it incorporates the visuals. Let's take a look at what that feels like.
Speaking of new, weren't you supposed to take your fake high school girlfriend to the library a half hour ago?
What? It's like 6 in the morning. It's weird.
What's weird?
Libraries remind me of grade school.
That must seem like a really long time ago.
Okay, so with this scene, let's break it down a little bit. We're in this dark room, we open a door, light floods into the room, kind of black or whites out the screen, and then we come down and we're in the sky. Super cool way to do this transition. But they do a couple things that pushes that over the limit. Now, when he opens the door, we hear this loud sound, right? We hear this loud, ah, and this huge, like, blare almost sound, right? And we see the words, ah, on screen. It feels very comic booky. But then, to further that, through the transition, when they come down to the library, the first thing you see on the inside of the library is a sign that says, "Silent, please." Not only do we see this sign, but we also get a shh sound in the background, which calms down the sound in the scene and then takes us into the next area. It's such a creative way to use sound and visuals to make transitions. Another time we see this is when Scott is starting to lose interest in Knives a little bit and he doesn't pick her up from the bus stop. She shows up at the house and we have this really cool section of scenes where the camera is moving consistently one direction across the screen and we keep getting things that separate the scenes. So, let's take a look at that one.
How could I possibly forget?
Your book club is so boring. I cannot believe the music they put on while we work.
That's sucky.
Ooh, Hannah broke up with Alan, and now she's all into Derek.
Uh-huh.
But then Tamara claims she has dips on Derek.
Hell yeah.
This is using the same basic technique that they use in other parts of the movie. However, this time they're using set objects. These objects are part of the set. Pillars they have. Actually, they use her shoulder at one point. And they work really well. And this is kind of a good transition into what I did in my film. In my film, The Cover of Night, I used this similar transition on a budget. Now, in the big leagues, they probably had some kind of remote control arm that consistently had the speed. We just had a Ronin. So all we did was move the Ronin sideways behind an object and then move at a similar speed behind another object in our next scene. This is what it looked like.
Was she cute?
She needed my help, Sean.
The city needs your help, Aaron. Okay, look.
So to push this scene to the next level, we actually had an actor who was one of our crew members grab a book from behind the object that we moved through to push that scene through. This is something that Steven Spielberg also does when he has a long one take. He has things happening that guide the camera. So our actor guided us from that one spot all the way over to the table where our two actors were sitting. This wasn't the only time I used this in my film. Another time I used it was when our character woke up late to a date, kind of a date. And he really wanted to get to the door because she was knocking on the door. It was kind of a crazy mess. So what we did was as he cleaned, the camera goes behind the TV and transitions into the next scene. Let's take a look.
Jen's here. We're supposed to study today. Oh, you gotta get out. Good. Yeah, good. Hey, Jen.
Now, this is a super easy effect to do. All you need to do is find that object, find another object from the other area. So in this case, we use this wall. Put them together in post, move them over a little bit, create some masks. It's so easy. And it's something that you can do if you plan for it while you're shooting. And make your film, whoa, my camera. Sorry about that, I'm still learning this YouTube thing apparently. It still looks like it's moving. What's going on? Okay, I think I got it. Okay, so all you need to do is plan for it when you're shooting. Find two objects you can go behind, and there you go. It's super easy. You just gotta keep that horizontal movement, try to do it the same as much as possible, and you'll be good. Back in Scott Pilgrim, they do another type of transition that's super important, and that's using sound. Now, a couple different ways they do this is when they have a character interrupt another character, and it kind of jumps to another scene. They do this a couple different ways. Let's look at a couple of them.
Do you know that girl?
Scott! What? You only played one note for that entire song.
Is your girlfriend distracting you?
My girlfriend?
I'll be quieter.
Let's do that one again.
Sorry, what are we doing?
I told you like 50 times.
We're going to this party, retard.
Party?
And Julie.
I thought you guys split up.
We did, but there might be some label guys there, so you know.
Oh man, this is gonna suck.
At least it'll give us something to complain about.
Oh man, this sucks.
Sucks.
I'm gonna go pee due to boredom.
Now that's a super creative transition, but it teaches you something about the transitions that you can use. An example I used in my film was what I had a book close and used that sound to carry over into the next scene. Now, this is not the same thing. This is something we came up with in post that we didn't intend on using. So this was a lot less planned out, but you get the same gist.
Please. Let's go.
Alright, so the important part of that is we use the closing of the book, the sound of the closing of the book, to take us to black and then bring us up in the next scene. This is super easy to do. You can do it in post. All you do is take that sound, carry the sound just a little bit further than the video, and then go to black or go to your next scene. I do it a couple different times in this movie. If you haven't seen the movie, check the description down below or check the tag up here somewhere and you can check it out. It's a super fun movie. I really, really hope you guys check it out, and I really hope you enjoy it. Another way we use this sound is we take sound from one scene and have a similar sound in another scene. This is something we planned for later in the movie, where we had a character who just got the crap kicked out of him, and he's gonna try to meet his friend. So he's coughing up blood, he's coughing a lot. So in one scene, when he's trying to collect himself, he coughs quite a few times while he's talking. And in the next scene, he's coughing as they enter the room. So what we did was we tried to match up the cadence of his coughs to try to give the scene a little bit of momentum. Let's check it out.
Aaron! Aaron! I'm calling the ambulance. They'll be there soon. Just hold tight.
I can make it.
Don't be stupid. Just wait. At least let me come pick you up.
I said I can make it.
Come on, bro. You're good. You're good. Okay, you know what? We gotta call Jen.
No.
Aaron, this is life or death. She's literally the only one who can help us right now.
One other thing you notice in this scene is we take some time on our lighting to make sure the lighting has some kind of story to it as well. In the scene before, we had red, dark colors. So we moved to this next room and we knew we were going to have dark colors again. And we were going to do this coughing transition. We took a little bit of red and splashed it on the foreground so that that transition felt even stronger. But what happens when you don't plan for a transition? How can you make these transitions feel clean and appropriate when you're editing? Well, let's take a look at Fighter, a film I shot a little bit longer ago and didn't really have time to plan out my transitions. In Fighter, it's supposed to take place in one room with nothing going on, no color change, no light change, nothing. But we're supposed to have multiple days. When we were in the edit, we were having trouble trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to do. This is what we ended up doing. Now, none of the scenes could transition the same way every single time, so we had to come up with creative sound transitions other than just using a riser and changing it to peak. One of the things we did was there's a scene where she's crying and she's super sad. Obviously, if you haven't seen the film, go check it out because this is a bit of a spoiler. But her being kidnapped, she has this scene where she has a really long crying scene. To lead into that, we didn't want to use a riser, we didn't want to use anything too intense. So what we did was just start her crying in the scene before, and then when it cuts, it feels like there's a big jump in time, not only because of the camera location, but also because we hear that sound, we go to it, it feels completely different. Let's check it out.
Help! Somebody please help!
Alright guys, this was my mini lecture type, tutorial type thing, I guess, on transitions. A couple creative ways for you guys to do transitions. I hope you learned something. If not, I hope you had a good time listening to me ramble and talk about movies for a little bit. Hopefully going to be doing a lot more of these. If you like it, hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what else you want me to talk about. I am 100% down to talk about whatever, as this is a new thing on my channel. My channel's kind of new anyway. So if you are interested in something specific, let me know so that I can do it, so that I can help you guys, okay? Alright, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Pour yourself a glass. Have a good day.